In this video, we're going to be talking about how to play Ermac, and more specifically how to play Ermac in a way that SonicFox seems to be playing him so far. So Ermac is proving to be quite a strong character with a pretty versatile and variable way of playing him. He can almost be played almost from like a full zoner, depending on what camo you use, using this projectile, and then from the mid-range using your long-reaching buttons and this move, which can catch a lot of people and stuff like that. And standing 2 as well, all the way to being a full rushdown character with plus on block cancels, great mix and overheads and easy links and conversions, safe jumps that break armor, lots of stuff. And SonicFox definitely falls into the second of those two options. Sonic really seems to be loving playing Ermac really aggressively with these deck cancels into throws and getting full combos off of any of your overheads and getting full conversions off of anything with Janet. So in this video, I just want to talk about 3 main things that you can adopt into your game plan to play more like Sonic. And I feel like I have to pop a disclaimer. There is a lot more that goes into a pro player's gameplay and skill than just what combos and pressure they use. So this video should probably be more accurately called like how to adopt specific parts of SonicFox's game plan into your own, but that doesn't sound as good as a title, sorry. So the 3 core things of SonicFox's gameplay that we're going to be talking about is constantly using your dash cancels on block and on hit, using a lot of float cancels to get meterless combos, and being able to use Janet in almost any situation to get full conversions off of anything. So, part 1, the cancels. Back forward 1 is Ermac's cancelable move, and some Ermac players use it, some players don't. Sonic uses it a lot. It's probably one of the most core parts of Sonic's gameplay with this character. Some players like myself originally didn't use it too much because it conflicted with this back forward 3s, so it meant you couldn't get these kind of nice damaging meterless extensions, but Sonic kind of shows that it's more worthwhile to abuse the dash cancel. Because even if it leads to less damage, it is so useful on block and on hit that it just is completely worthwhile. So the frame data on any of his cancels, whether it's from his overhead, his standing 1-2, his mid, none of them are plus or like immensely great in frame data wise, but a lot of them are safe and they just happen so fast that they are genuinely pressure. It's not like a gimmick, it is a proper way of holding down the opponent. They have to guess whether you're gonna go for example like 1-2-3, or if you're gonna go 1-2 cancel, and when you cancel you're gonna go canceling into 1-2 or 1-2 into a grab, or you're gonna back cancel to keep yourself safe and go into a long reaching button, or are you just gonna let the special move rock, because if you just hold it down for a little bit it instantly goes from -15 to just being -5, so if you hold it down for just a second it becomes completely safe. So having all of these options puts the risk reward and the like RPS completely in Ermac's favor, because if the opponent presses buttons, most of the options that Ermac does is gonna beat them pressing buttons, except for simply dashing in into another high. And once the opponent slightly respects you, then you just have complete free reign to just dial into essentially what is an option select of going into pressure or into combos. Because if my opponent happens to get hit by my standing 1-2, or even get clipped by the second hit of the standing 1-2, because maybe they think I'm going for a grab or something, if they just happen to get hit by it, I can just dial in this whole sequence, and I get a full combo conversion from it without even really having to think about it. And even if they were blocking, then dashing into this like high knee, although it's, the opponent does have to be conditioned, it's not a bad situation because then you kind of get your float mix from it. So it's really strong that you can just do this all the time and you can decide whether you want to dash into mix-ups or just dash into your combos, which can also end up being makeshift pressure. And the best part is that it can be done off of basically practically everything, so that includes like his big nice overhead that is decently fast and decently ranged. You can just dash in more easily for like a stand 1-2, or if your timing is pretty good from your dashes you can get the forward 4. And once again, even if they block it, never fear, you can go for a bunch of options on pressure. it really is just an endless cycle where you either get easy hit confirms or decide to go even on pressure. If you fail the hit confirm, you can still decide to go for pressure. Like if I go for my overhead and don't react to that block it, I can just dash into another overhead. It's really so powerful that you can do all of these options, and as long as the opponent even respects you in the slightest, you can go for some real sick stuff. And the second thing you've probably seen me doing quite a bit already, but is using these float cancel combos, because now you kind of have to use slightly different combo routes to get damage. If we're using a lot of these cancels in our pressure and our incidental hit confirms, we can't do stuff like this, because now we can't dash cancel after the back forward 3. So it's more worthwhile to do meterless combos that use a lot of flight cancels and are pretty hard to do, but they're decently rewarding for being free. And this is like the prime example of it. It's got a bunch of extensions in it, you have the double side switch, so you end up being on the same side at the end, and does about 30% off of whatever hit you get, and it's completely meterless. So what this combo basically entails, just any of your buttons, dash cancel, into forward 4, and then, I don't know if this is going to be a full combo tutorial, but you just, you do the combo. It takes a lot of practice to get a lot of flight cancel stuff if you're not really used to that kind of thing, but the hardest part is probably just getting the forward 4 into the flight into the stand 2, and then once you've got this, you just go for forward 2 into the flight cancel, dash forward, and then another forward 4 into the flight cancel. You kind of do the same thing over and over again, but then the second time you do jump 1, 2. At first I thought this combo would be really difficult, and it is when you first start, but after you practice a little bit, I can now get it pretty consistently as long as I'm not yapping. And then you make sure you do that micro dash at the end before the 1, 2, 3. Not really micro dash, it's really just a full dash. And then you do the 1, 2, 3 because then you get to dash under the opponent. Because if you didn't, it would be harder to time the 1, 2, 3. Oh, I managed to do it there. And also, you see, you switch sides at the end. So it just makes the combo easier and you get to keep the same side. But yeah, this is a really good combo route. It can be, like I said, done off of all of your key buttons. It can be done off your overhead, it can be done off of your standing 2, it can be done off basically anything. Of course not your non-standard combo starting things like your 2, 1, 2. But a lot of the time when you're doing pressure, it's going to be off of things like your 1, 2, or your overhead. Stuff like that's going to hit the opponent more. Also your mid, but unfortunately your mid makes the opponent airborne, so you do have to go for a slightly different combo route there. But the combos you get from this is something we'll talk about in part 3. So yeah, I highly recommend you really practice getting that Ermac combo down, because it seems like it's a really core part of his playstyle. You can do it at any time, and also really make sure you actually practice it from the other side as well, because particularly for slightly trickier combos like this, a lot of people end up trying to do them online and always dropping them when they're on the right side, because your inputs are reversed, so it is a little bit more difficult, and make sure you just practice it, trust me. And the third thing is just always making sure you get nice chunks of damage by using Janet Cage. She's a pretty simple cameo to use, and honestly, the only thing I've seen Sonic use of hers is just the combo extensions. I don't see too much Nut Punch, and certainly no Sento stance, or at least yet. But her combo extender blends pretty well with Ermac, because you can get combo extensions from everything that would basically otherwise end your combo. So things like this back forward 2 in neutral, which catches a lot of people. It's also your armor move, so it gives you combos off of your armor. 1, 2, 4, 1, 2, 3 grab. Down 2. And also his throw. All of these, you just do the moves, and you can go into a teleport and get some kind of extension afterwards. Depending on what the combo is, it can even still be worthwhile just doing the full Janet extension, and then just going for the teleport, because Janet herself adds quite a bit of damage to the combo. Then you get the teleports, you get some pretty decent Oki afterwards, where you get a pretty safe jump in or dash in for an overhead, and you see Sonic using that quite a lot. This makes your threat of random back forward 2s a lot more scary as well now, because now you can either get, a lot more damage from them, or you can turn them into full combos. where you get like easy 35% off of any random swing. And like I mentioned, this also applies to your 1, 2, 3 grab. The timing can be a little bit tricky, but I think if you time it where you press Janet as he like goes to grab the opponent when it's that 4th hit, like now, then it seems to connect pretty easy. And you get a bunch of damage. And the cool part about this one is that you can do it at the end of your combo, because a lot of combos you're ending in this anyway, so you've done a bunch of damage, and you can add Janet for a bunch of extra damage. And a lot of these combos aren't optimal, but they're easy ways of just chunking on extra damage without having to lab anything more specific or specific to that particular combo. And ultimately, this just gives Ermac a lot more threat in any situation, whether he's going for an armored wake up, armoring through gaps, going for this random thing in neutral, anytime he gets a throw, which you're going to be doing a lot considering how good your throw pressure is. Now he just gets a lot better reward off of every time he does it, whether it's just meterless extensions like that, or spends meter to get a decent amount of damage. And keep in mind, this all just costs 1 cameo gauge, you're just using 1 Janet extension, so you could do more if you needed even more damage. And then hopefully when you integrate all 3 of these together, you're going to become a bit of a rushdown monster. As long as you practice the execution, your cancels are going to lead to some pretty powerful rushdown, where you get combos or pressure off of any of your, key buttons. And when your opponent happens to get hit by any of your pressure, well, you get this full combo, which is meterless and does a decent amount of damage, nothing wild, but you can always get it, and it's free, and it's from your great pressure. And if you ever need to add a bit more damage to kill the opponent, or just, keep getting more reward from anything, you can just call out Janet, get an easy 25% or more if you decide to spend a bit of meter. So hopefully this guide helps you improve or switch up your Ermac gameplay. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye!